Hello and welcome to Shifting Gears, and this is the new Triumph Daytona 660 and it is now available in the Indian market. Now prices for this Triumph Daytona 660 start from rupees 9,72,450. This Triumph Daytona 660 is now a sports tourer motorcycle. The OG Triumph Daytona, the 675 series, that was a proper super sport machine. This has changed overall in terms of its design, in terms of its characteristic, and this is a brand new motorcycle. This Daytona 660 has nothing to do with the original, the OG Daytona 675 series, and a lot of enthusiasts are a bit unhappy about it. But then the segment has completely changed, because in this price range now people who are looking for a sporty motorcycle, they want a comfortable motorcycle. So that is why sports tourers are gaining popularity. In this engine capacity range, there are a lot of adventure tourers which are coming up, and super sport motorcycles, especially in the 600cc class, they are vanishing very quickly. So in this video, I am going to give you a very detailed first ride review of this Triumph Daytona 660 so that you can make an informed buying decision. So now is a good time to subscribe to the Shifting Gears channel, press that bell icon so that you are notified every time we upload a content piece for you. Now this technically is the third motorcycle in this 660cc range for Triumph motorcycles. We have seen the Trident before, we also saw the Tiger Sport 660. This Triumph Daytona 660 is now their sportiest 660, and also there is a lot that has changed for this application when we speak about the engine as well. So it is not just an application where different body styles are being offered to you. This has a lot of changes, but what you will notice is that this Daytona 660 is a rather compact motorcycle, and for the kind of money that you pay, this might not really have that kind of road presence, but still it is a very good looking motorcycle. And what I like is that it is not very sharp and edgy to look at. It has some nice curves to it, and I think it is a decent looking bike, especially now in 2025. And this design, it should age well, but then that is my opinion. Let us start speaking about the features of this motorcycle so that you can let us know in the comments below if you like the design of this Daytona 660 or not. Now let's start from the front end. Have a look at this. You have the split dual headlamp cluster over here. You have LED DRLs, and it is a decent looking unit. Now the main beam is on the right hand side. The left hand side activates when you activate high beam. Have a look at the LED DRL within, and you have a blacked out treatment for the headlamp unit. It looks quite nice, and it looks nice and stealth too. Over here you will notice you have carbon fiber texture, so that also adds to a premium appeal and it makes the bike look more upmarket. You have this split over here. This is going to be for aero efficiency as well. Now since this bike is being sold in India, a lot of people are going to remove this piece as soon as they bring the bike home, but this is where the number plate is mounted. It is mounted on the same mounting points where the mirrors are mounted, and these mirrors, by the way, you can very easily fold them as well if you are going for a track day, or you can just simply get them off as well, and they are very easy to adjust when you are on the go. Then at the front end, you saw this air duct. This has a plastic panel over here. Then lower down you have this plastic front fender. You have Showa upside down front forks. These are separate function forks, big piston forks. You have dual disc brakes at the front end, 17-inch wheels. You have a reflector for lateral visibility. and you get Michelin tires with this motorcycle. The front tire profile is 120 70 R17. Now when you look at the fairing from the side profile of this motorcycle, you will notice that there are quite a bit of parts all around, so that this bike looks like a proper full fed sports bike. So have a look at this. Over here you will notice there are some nice cuts, nice details for good aero efficiency too. So the Daytona 660 branding is over here at the front end. It is not overdone with too many graphics and body decals, so I really like that. The 660 branding is over here as well, lower down below the engine, so it tries to scream that this is a 600cc class motorcycle. The main engine components are nicely exposed. This is for optimum cooling, so that the bike is not covering the engine area with panels, so that it doesn't heat up very soon, but still it does allow a lot of heat to be felt on the rider foot, on the rider legs. Your chassis parts are covered. Have a look at this plastic panel over here, and you will notice that the main chassis is nicely finished in a black color. All the touch points, they are very well done. Of course, some plastics you might not really like, you might think that they are flimsy, but nothing is ugly looking. There is no weld or there is no ungainly looking part on this Daytona 660. Again, come up close over here on this fairing section. You will notice you have contrast colors too. Even over here you have this cutout for better cooling efficiency. And then you will notice with this motorcycle lower down, you have a 3-in-1 underbelly exhaust, and it sounds rather nice. Let us very quickly fire up this motorcycle so that you can listen to that exhaust note. So here goes. Signature triple sound, and this is how it sounds at idle. This is at medium revs. This is how it sounds when you rev it higher, closer to the red line. Do you think this sounds good? You let us know in the comments below. I really like the sound of Triumph triples, and this is very pleasing, especially when you are on the go and when you are revving it out hard. All parts on the fairing, they are very nicely put together. Nothing has rattled throughout my review ride experience. This fuel tank, have a look at this. Not a metal piece on top. You have the Triumph branding over here, very nicely done. You have a dual tone effect to this fuel tank. You have this center spine in a contrast color, looks quite nice, and it has some details, some crease lines, so that also tries to break the monotony. And you will notice that the bike is very slim in the center section, so this is going to ensure that it is easy for riders to manage this bike, especially in stop and go conditions. Again, come up close to the fuel tank. Have a look at this. The fuel filler cap also has the Triumph logo detailing. Again, looks nice. You have a triple clamp handlebar with this Daytona 660. Again, very good looking. The finishing is quite nice. The details are quite nice. Like I mentioned, Showa separate function forks, big piston forks with this Daytona 660, but these are not of the adjustable type. Speaking about the speedometer cluster now, have a look at this. It's a full digital unit. We have seen this on the Trident as well, also on the Tiger Sport 660, and it has all the information that you need. You have trip settings, you have fuel information data, you have your engine temperature, you have a calendar with your odometer, the display intensity, you can change it, you have your gear position indicator, and then you can also get into the main menu and then play around with multiple settings. So check this out. You can select between rain, road and sport ride modes. There is a lot that you can do, and all of this information is very easy to toggle, making use of the control on this switch cubes. The plastic quality is quite nice, and you can operate all of this easily even when you are wearing gloves. This is the button which is quick access for changing the ride mode. So press this and you can toggle between rain, road and sport. And this tick mark that you see is for settings which are seen over here on the speedometer cluster. So to get into the menu, it is very easy and I like it. I can easily read this information, but I wish that it was different looking compared to the previous 660s which were sold here in the Indian market, because you need to add some different flavor to such kind of a motorcycle. If you want to sell a fully fed machine, you need to ensure that it feels special, it looks different, it feels different. Is that going to make or break the deal? You let us know in the comments below. Speaking about the switch cubes, on the right hand side, you will notice you have an integrated starter button with the kill switch. Lower down, you have your hazard lamp button too. And of course, you can notice that this motorcycle, this Daytona 660, it comes with ride by wire. On the right hand side, you will notice that the front disc brake, this lever has adjustment. But when you speak of the clutch on the left hand side, this is not of the adjustable type. So fixed setting, so you will have to live with what is available. No adjustment available to you over here. Then have a look at this panel over here. So everything is very nicely done. Again, some carbon fiber texture finish over here. Looks nice. The details are nice. There are good crease lines, so it doesn't look boring. It is not flat and it's just given to you. It has been thought about and it looks quite nice. This front windscreen, it is not of the adjustable type. So if Triumph wanted to sell a sports tourer, I wish that the front windscreen was offering you at least one range of motion to set it as per your height and your riding style. But it is what it is. No change available to you over here in terms of the windscreen height for better wind protection, especially at high speed touring. Now when you look at the seat, you get a split seat setup with this motorcycle. The seats are very good in terms of padding, in terms of comfort and in terms of space. My height is 5 feet 8 inches. I weigh 84 kg as of date and I had no problems with the seat in terms of being comfortable on it. This pillion seat, it depends on pillion preference if he or she is going to be happy over here. But what is good is that these grab rails, they pop out quite nicely. So there is good leverage, there is good space to grab onto it. So it doesn't feel cramped and your fingers, they won't really feel too hard pressed. Now since we are at the tail end, just have a look at that tail lamp and it is familiar. There is no major change over here. And you will also notice that since we have all LED lighting, you have LED turn indicators, you have hazard light functionality, and this extension over here for this number plate housing, this is going to prevent some amount of mud splash, especially in monsoon season. But how useful this is going to be, only time will tell and only pillions will be able to tell after they have a look at their shirt or jacket or whatever. Speaking about the rear tire, a nice and wide 180 55, let me check, yeah, 180 55 contact patch tire, 17-inch wheel, disc brake at the back. Have a look at the swing arm, finished in black. You have this splash guard over here to protect your rear monoshock as well, which is preload adjustable by the way. And there are no contrast rim stripes on this alloy wheel. I wish that was an offer. It would have just made the bike look more stylish. These Michelins are Power 6 tires which are offered to you. Now there is one major problem with the Daytona 660 and that is the ground clearance. This issue has plagued this 660 series. We faced the same problem with the Trident as well, even with the Tiger Sport 660, which was an adventure tourer. So if you are riding over a speed breaker, forget with a pillion, even if you are riding solo, that is going to hit it and you have to be very careful. Speaking about smaller details, have a look at the pegs. You have this pattern over here which is going to offer you better grip. No rubber tops, but you don't necessarily need it because the bike is very smooth. You don't feel any vibrations. This brake, it looks very cheap on a motorcycle of this price. So this should have at least had a rubber top and it should have been better finished. And also it is very close over here to the engine section. So when you sit on the bike, when you place your foot, you have to get your foot quite inside to use the foot brake. So that is a finer detail that I'm sharing with you. The engine section overall in a complete dark theme, and it looks quite nice. And the bike, this Daytona 660, it is going to be offered to you in a total of 3 color options. And I think in this shade of white, it is a rather good looking motorcycle. So now let's talk about the most important aspect, the rider's triangle, because that is a big change on this Daytona 660 compared to the OG 675 series Triumph Daytona, which you can only buy in the aftermarket now. This has been made more accessible so that you are more comfortable, so that you can ride this bike more in more applications and you can live with it more easily and effortlessly. Now, the seat height is 810 millimeters. You also have a low seat option as an accessory, 795 millimeters for that. The wet weight of this bike is 201 kg. My height 5 feet 8 inches, and when I swing a leg, have a look at this. I have both my feet confidently flat on the ground, and because of this I have no worries about being able to manage this motorcycle. Have a look at this. Both my feet flat on the ground. So this seat height is quite ideal, and what I really like is that it is nice and slim between my legs. This motorcycle, the center profile is very narrow, so because of that you can stand comfortably and confidently. So if this is going to be your first big bike, this is not going to be intimidating. Now, speaking about the rider's triangle, you have a clip-on handlebar, and this is how you sit. It is an aggressive riding posture. Now, although this is a sports tourer, you can say, they say that it is a sports bike, but it is more touring focused, but it is still more on the sportier side and not completely an upright sports tourer. So this might take some time for you to get used to if you are expecting a much more relaxed, riding triangle. So you will feel some amount of pain on your wrist, on your elbow, shoulder when you are new to this machine. There is no pain that you are going to feel on your back because you sit this way, because most of your weight is on your arms. Your upper body weight is on your arms, and this is the only challenge which you can get over in a week or two of ownership of this machine. But otherwise, have a look at this. This is the angle for your legs. This is how you're going to sit. Rear set foot pegs, nice and sporty, and you do, lean in a fair bit. So it is committed. It is not fully committed and aggressive. It is not, very, very super sport like, but it is a proper sports bike when you sit on this machine. What I really like is that you don't have to struggle too much when you're on the bike to move it. Have a look at this. The 201 kg wet weight is not bad at all, and you can easily live with this bike even in a tight parking spot. So you will not need to ask for help to push this machine around. So a good thumbs up from my end in terms of the rider's triangle and the overall geometry, but it is just that you need to be aware that this is not going to be fully comfort oriented. This is still on the sportier side of the scale. I really liked the seat, the padding and the comfort that the seat offered throughout my review ride. This is reasonably spacious for my body type. If you are slimmer, even better. If you are healthier, there is still some space left to accommodate you. Some heavier riders and some taller riders, maybe, if they want to just slide back and relax a bit when they are on the move. This thing which I mentioned, have a look at this, the foot brake being too close. So you have to get your foot quite inside to operate this. I did find myself fiddling around with this very often, so that is the only thing that could have been better in terms of ergonomics. Everything else otherwise is right in its place. Even these buttons and everything, very easy. The mirrors, you can very easily reach out even on the go. So this is an easy motorcycle to understand and to learn. So Do you like it? You let us know in the comments below. But when I am seated on this motorcycle, just have a look at the amount of space that is available for the pillion. Now this is a split seat setup, not a single piece unit, so I am not necessarily going to eat up into the space available for the pillion. So this is the amount of maximum space that is on offer. Is your friend, family member going to be happy? It's for them to decide. Now powering this new and tamed Triumph Daytona 660 is a 660cc inline triple DOHC liquid cooled motor with a 240-degree firing order. While we are familiar with this engine in the previous Roadster and Adventure Tourer format, on this Daytona 660, it produces 95 PS of power at 11,250 RPM and 69 Nm of torque at 8,250 RPM, matched to a 6-speed gearbox coupled with a slip and assist clutch. And for the triple symphony, you will see an underbelly 3-in-1 exhaust system. Now specific to this Daytona 660, the power has gone up by 17%. The red line, it has gone up by 20% to 12,650 RPM, and peak torque has also been bumped up by 9%, and all of this is in comparison to the Trident 660. What we really enjoyed was the fact that 80% of the peak torque is available from as low as 3,125 RPM, and that then builds progressively. And this is not just a claim, as you can ride the bike in 6th gear as low as 40 km per hour and then open the throttle without noticing any hesitation. This makes the Daytona 660 a very practical motorcycle inside the city too. However, this motor does heat up a fair bit, and you feel the heat on your legs as soon as the cooling fans kick in. I wish that this heat was directed away from the rider in a better manner. Now for this Daytona 660, there is a lot that has changed with this 660cc engine compared to when it was first released. This motor now features new throttle bodies, larger airbox, new crankshaft, new pistons, new cylinder head, revised exhaust system, revised gearbox, new clutch, new cooling system, and also an optional up and down quick shifter is on offer. Speaking about the tech that is on offer, the Daytona 660 comes with ride-by-wire, 3 riding modes which includes Sport, Rain and Road, switchable traction control, and the familiar TFT digital speedometer cluster, which we wish was different and also larger in size. And the optional connectivity module is also available, which can be fit as an accessory. Now of course this is a triple, it's a 660, but this new Daytona 660 is not to be compared with the OG Triumph Daytona 675 series. Still, we think that the performance is not that bad and the overall package is still acceptable. However, in comparison to the Kawasaki Ninja 650, the pricing delta is huge. And for those who want a real supersport 600cc class motorcycle, Kawasaki also retails the Ninja ZX6R. Now this is a sports tourer kind of a motorcycle, but it does accelerate in urgency when you whack the throttle. The price to performance ratio feels just about average. Do not get us wrong, you can do serious triple digit speeds easily on the Daytona 660, but it just doesn't feel really special. Hitting 150 km per hour and more is a piece of cake, and you are comfortable on this machine to hold on to such speeds for longer thanks to the rider's triangle compared to the OG Daytona. What I absolutely loved about this motorcycle was the ride quality. The Daytona 660 rides on a 41mm upside down Showa big piston separate function forks and a rear monoshock with preload adjustment, 110 mm of wheel travel at the front and 130 mm of wheel travel at the back. I was instantly at home while riding this bike and never did I feel tired. Yes, the committed riding stance might take some time to get used to, but the suspension, it will let you ride for longer. Fun fact, this Triumph Daytona 660 is a sports bike which has a more comfortable suspension than my Royal Enfield Interceptor 650, which is an upright sitting modern classic. The ride and handling package of this Daytona 660 is pretty sorted for daily use. But this is more on the softer side with the tuning if you intend to take the bike out on a track day. Nevertheless, this can be a great all-rounder for someone who is not bothered about the brand dilution compared to the past and does not want a really aggressive super sport motorcycle. Riding modes can be switched on the go to suit your riding style and road conditions. Switchable traction control gives you better control and the brakes have good stopping power too. Just make note of how much the front end dives under hard braking. You will have to be mindful of this, especially when riding along with a pillion. I want to reiterate that the ground clearance problem is pretty serious with this Daytona 660 in the real world. The underbelly section, it hits and it hits hard and it will hurt you in the heart. The tires worked as expected, nothing to elaborate over here. So that has been a pretty exhaustive first ride review of this new Daytona 660. We know that the OG Daytona lovers are really sour about this change, but it is what it is. The market has moved on and so should you. So what is your opinion about this new Triumph Daytona 660? Let us know in the comments below. If you have any other questions, ask me and I will try my best to help you out. Till next time, subscribe to the Shifting Gears channel, press that bell icon, always ride safe and try to follow speed limits as much as you can.